half in the bag. Colgate, take me away.
Whew, we just get so swamped around the holidays.
Phone's ringing off the hook. You know?
It did ring once yesterday.
It was a wrong number. Yeah, they were looking for a VCR repair shop. Oh wait, that's what we do. Oh shit. Oh!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Lightning fast VBR repair. How can I help you? No, VBR repair, not VCR. But this is lightning fast VBR repair. You idiot! Don't ever call here again!
No, Mike, we are lightning fast VCR repair.
What the fuck is a VCR? Ugh, my brain doesn't work anymore. It's like I got kicked in the head by a mule.
Oh, you saw Aquaman too?
Porcupine Bungalow heart. Trampoline condom?
Zach Baggins.
Betty Boop diaper hygiene. From the director of The Conjuring, James Wan, comes his most frightening film to date, Aquaman. Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, Nicole Kidman, Patrick Wilson, Dolph Lundgren, and Willem Dafoe round out the cast of people that look like they have no idea what's going on around them. Why, it's a spectacle of fish magic, bad acting, sharks, tidal waves, bad acting, CGI water hair, and embarrassing costumes that all fit snugly into a boilerplate plot about a merman becoming a king or something. Take Thor, Lord of the Rings, Black Panther, and splash! Put them in a blender, then just add water, no pun intended, and voila! You've got mail!
I'm going to drink both coffee and a beer in an attempt to recreate how I felt while watching Aquaman.
So, a stimulant and a depressant.
Yes.
Okay. So, Jay, what did you think of Aquaman?
Why does a movie about Aquaman, the little guy that talks to fish, need to be the same running time as 2001: A Space Odyssey? This movie's 2.5 hours long, and it's about 3 movies worth of plot crammed into one, to where it becomes kind of a mess, even though some of the visuals and ideas are fun.
Yeah, I would describe this movie as overstaying its welcome. It's someone that comes over, you know, and visits, and it's like, this person's cool.
It's Joe. He's my friend from high school. Joe, he is the class cut-up.
Yep, and
everybody likes him.
Sure is great to see Joe again. He's really fun. And then midnight rolls around, 1 a.m., and Joe won't leave.
That's an old John Belushi SNL sketch. They call it's framed like a horror movie, and it's just him like, I'm gonna have some of these potato chips.
I don't want to be rude, but my wife is very tired. Hey, there's a good movie on tonight. I think I'll call up some friends and watch it over here.
Yeah, well, okay, let's talk positives first. We're not here to crap on a DC movie again, because this was a competent, well-made movie from a good director, James Wan.
That's the highest praise you can give it, is that this is the first DC movie that feels like somebody's vision.
Well, aside from Wonder Woman, which was a good movie too.
The Wonder Woman gets the character stuff right, but it still has like dated, terrible action. Like it had a lot of like speed up, slow down, like that stuff, and then the ending is just a CGI mess. So it gets the character stuff right. This movie gets the character stuff right, and the visuals and the action scenes are competent. There's lots of James Wan likes his wide shots. He likes wide angle lenses. Lots of swooping around, people punching. He gets all that stuff.
The action in this was good until, again, it overstays its welcome. The scene when Aquaman boards the submarine and fights those guys, and that was good. It was like a really good action movie, and I was like, but as far as like, if you say like the gold standard of superhero movies is the Marvel movies,
What are you, some kind of Marvel shill?
I am. I get paid by them to shill their products.
Of course.
I get checks on a daily basis in the 7-figure range.
Oh.
To shill to our vast audience on YouTube.
Yeah.
No, because those like have weight to them. They have like gravitas, excitement. And also there's a lot of humor and witty dialogue to counterbalance that. Like the Thanos movie. I really enjoyed the Thanos movie. I mean, it was great. Wonder Woman felt more like a Marvel movie because I think the interaction between Wonder Woman and Chris Pine was a little more wittier. They had a little more chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Momoa and Amber Heard have zero chemistry.
Yes.
All right, now hold still.
Hey, what are you doing?
We need water. Near the closest source.
I could have just peed on it.
It's like a puzzle with all the proper puzzle pieces, and they're all put together well. But when you look back, it's just like a picture of like a sewer. You know what I mean? It's not the beautiful ocean and the sunset
Yeah,
like they hope for it, but all the pieces are there that should work.
Yeah.
You know, and for a while, up until about halfway through the movie, I was like, hey, all these things are falling into place rather well. You've got multi-tiered villains. You've got Patrick Wilson as King Gooba Gooba.
As Bible Man by the end. He's wearing his armor and he looks like fucking Bible Man.
The Ocean Master. But his goal is I'm going to unite all the underwater. It's a very Lord of the Rings kind of plot.
Lord of the Rings, Black Panther. They got the underwater city. They're unknown to the rest of the world, and then he's combining all the different tribes to band together and
To take over.
I'm falling asleep as I explain.
Yeah,
it.
your typical villain plot, and then
Yeah.
there was the far more interesting plot of a bad guy, I should say, of the mercenary high seas pirate guy,
Yeah.
and his father isn't saved by Aquaman, so he wants revenge. So you got your two boilerplate superhero villains, Revenge Man and Conquer the World Man.
Loki.
Yeah, you got those two cards. So it's like they're not just going to play the one hand. They got another hand on the side.
But then one of those cards they lost halfway through. They're like, where'd it go?
Oh yeah. Well, it fell under the table.
Oh. We get lots and lots of dialogue explaining the mythology of the underwater worlds.
And that was good.
Him becoming a king. They should call this movie Deep Sea Exposition.
Oh, you thought of that all afternoon, didn't you?
I thought about it. Well, I had to think about something halfway through the movie when they were fighting in that little village, and it went on for 45 minutes, and my brain started to wander.
See,
What
I
puns can I come
left
up with?
then. I went to go get a coffee.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm gonna take a break.
I needed
Check it out.
Yeah.
Well, it did not, that scene in particular, and that's the problem, like, all the action scenes in this movie, not all of them, but a lot of them just feel so pointless.
Yeah.
They're just in there because we have to have action. I'd compare it to, I just recently saw, I know you talked about it on the 2018 catch-up video, I saw Mission Impossible Fallout, which is the best action movie since, like, Mad Max Fury Road. And all the action scenes in that movie are great. Even aside from the fact that there's so many practical effects and stunts and all that, even aside from that, it's like each action scene is like, okay, there's the larger story of the movie, and then in this action scene, here is our goal. Here's what we have to accomplish by the end of this sequence. Boom. And in this movie, especially that big fight halfway through, it's just like, we have to kill Aquaman. And then they throw people through walls, and it just goes on and on and on, and it's like a frustrating nightmare. Not the movie as a whole, but all the action scenes. It's the smaller stuff. Like, it's how silly everything looked. I liked that. You got people riding giant seahorses and sharks. They got little saddles on the sharks, and it just like, James Wan knew that this all looked completely ridiculous. But then these action scenes just go on forever.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's, first he's gonna take back the kingdom, but now it's a subpar Indiana Jones globe-trotting movie.
Right.
And that stuff is where it really fell apart, because that's where they really tried to beef up the relationship between Aquaman and Amber Heard.
There was a little like montage of them like there's some weird song playing that I didn't recognize.
Yeah, they go to the little Italian village.
Yeah. But I kind of like the world building stuff, like, hey, because they explained a lot, which was nice. Like,
Yeah, and it wasn't an origin story. We got little snippets of flashbacks
Right.
sprinkled throughout, which was
Yes.
nice, that it
Right.
wasn't just a literal chronological order of events.
Right. It starts off in the past and then jumps forward, and then they go back to show Willem Dafoe training. Aquaman, for some reason, I think he knows that someday he will be the true king, and he doesn't like Patrick Wilson, so he secretly goes to the surface and trains him.
Fair enough.
And for hopes that one day he will get the trident from Smaug down in the caverns. But yeah, they were like, okay, so I was like, why do those guys have to wear suits with water in them? And then then they're like, oh, only so-and-so can breathe water and air. And I was okay, and then
in order to have like different groups under the around the Atlantis area, they explain that like some of the people that were down there evolved, and some of them devolved for some reason, and they're like fish monsters. And it's just an excuse to have cool creatures, I guess.
They fought an army of lobsters at one point.
That was my favorite scene in the movie. That was like, oh, that's right. James Wan is a horror filmmaker. I liked that whole sequence. They were like these Lovecraftian fish monsters.
Right.
There's that part when they're jumping off the boat. They got the flare. There's the red light, and it's all in slow motion. And they're like swirling around him. It was wonderful.
But speaking of Jango Fett, the lobster battle was very Attack of the Clones, like with those like lobster leg things with like snouts shooting lasers, and it looked very similar visually to Attack of the Clones. Yeah, the arena monster, the thing Obi-Wan fights with the spear.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like a crab monster, and it looks almost identical to the giant thing that Aquaman rides at the end.
Ah, yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh.
Well, and then you got Phantom Menace comparisons, the Gungan City.
Oh, right.
Kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, and
It's the last thing you want to be reminded of in any movie is the prequels.
it's a giant mixture of like 18 different films, like ones I described in the opening, like Thor, Lord of the Rings, all these like mythical, like you can be the king, you are the true king, you've got to get the mythical sword or spear or trident.
They try to make Aquaman into this epic, which is bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job in terms of pulling it off, but
they did. Well, they just did the Justice League movie. That should be their big epic like tentpole thing, and that was a giant disaster. So you would think they would go smaller with this, make like their version of an Ant-Man type movie, where the stakes are smaller, the story is smaller. But instead, they upped it, and it's like the most expensive movie ever made. Like, it looks like it would be. There's a gigantic Lord of the Rings scale battle at the end that is ultimately pointless and doesn't really connect with the main story.
Yeah, it's weird.
The story is the conflict between Aquaman and Bible Man. But for some reason, we have to spend, and it's not even that long. There's like it's kind of visually cool, but it's like 5 minutes, and then the movie forgets about it. It's weird.
Well, Bible Man wanted to recruit the lobster people to join his quest to take over the surface.
This is the movie.
Because the surface has garbage and battleships.
Yes.
And that's the thing too, is the Black Panther comparison, where you have this society that has apparently solved all of their problems, or has a flawlessly perfect society of
and technology,
supreme technology, potentially no hunger, no needs for the civilian population, no internal problems, basically. But they still operate on a feudal fight to the death mentality. And Patrick Wilson, the king of everyone who wants to unite everyone to conquer the surface world because of garbage. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess, do you know how fucking big the oceans are? I mean, yes, we have ships, battleships that float around on the surface, and people throw garbage in the water. There's garbage in the water. And Patrick Wilson, as a threat or a warning, makes a huge tidal wave that washes all the trash up on land.
And some warships.
And some warships, too. And really, that's all I need to do. All he has to really do is come up and float in the air and go on CNN and go, hi, I'm the king of the Atlanteans. We're real. We're down here.
Yeah.
Stop putting your garbage in the water. If he had any forethought or any leadership, he would say, we can easily create a tidal wave that will drown all of your major cities. you don't really have to conquer the surface world. And he even goes to the extent of like falsifying an attack by a submarine that he pays the pirate guy to attack, the king, Amber Heard's father, Dolph Lundgren, to make it look like the humans are attacking them now.
Right.
When really, like, that wasn't a big problem. It wasn't really a big problem. So it's like, yes, bad guy rubber stamp plot. Bad guy wants to conquer the Earth.
Yeah. When really the conflict, you could have done without all of that, gotten rid of that pirate character, and just had the conflict be the fight for Atlantis between. I keep wanting to call him Thor. Between Aquaman and Patrick Wilson.
See, I think that would be too close to the Black Panther premise, right?
I guess, but instead it's too close to several movies as opposed to just one. I don't know.
See, that is the big problem, is that we're discussing the plot to this movie, and the plot is on the bottom of the list. It's all about cinematic universe building.
Yeah, but that's, you have to at least care enough for the visuals aren't going to carry the entire movie. Like, you have to give at least enough of a character work to where you give a shit, even if the plot is basic.
If there is a film that deserves a cynical approach to our review, it's this. Because this is like, more so than a Marvel movie, this one is kind of a flat line in the funny, like, isn't Aquaman kind of like charismatic and charming and superhero-esque?
Yeah.
Isn't their relationship like important, or I care about it? No. Yeah. Flat line there. Plot is like boilerplate. Here's all the things, and then really it's just an entire cast and crew of people that just don't care about the movie they're making. It's really just to kind of like, I think they took a note from Wonder Woman, and you said before, why didn't they scale it back?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that during the movie. I was like, this would have been great if this came out like a couple of years before the Justice League.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But it's like they did everything, like they built up to Infinity War. Like they wisely started with Iron Man. And then
DC is constantly trying to course correct. Every movie is like a course correction from the last movie.
Yeah.
And if this movie was like an hour shorter and you streamline the plot, pick a plot and go with that, then it probably would have been a lot more charming, because visually I liked all the weird underwater stuff. That was a different setting for a movie like this. Giant crab monster showing up at the end. Like, that's fun. But I just didn't give a fuck about any of the characters or anything that was happening by that point.
Yeah.
Rise, Atlantis!
I was hoping at the end, when Bible Man and Aquaman have to fight again, when he's got the super trident, and Bible Man says, we've got to fight to see who's going to be the king.
Yeah.
And they're zooming up to the surface because Willem Dafoe said, fight him on your own terms, outside of the ocean. I wanted them to just shoot out and then like crash land in like a shopping mall.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then their thing skids to a halt and they're kind of standing there. Someone drops their coffee cup. People are Christmas shopping or whatever. And then they kind of, Patrick Wilson and Aquaman kind of look at each other, and then they start going at it. And the world news, something's going down. And
instead they're fighting on a ship in the ocean, and it's raining, and not that the movie is dark. It's not very Zack Snyder-ish tonally, but it still has those kind of visuals that are just like basic fighting in dark, gritty environment stuff.
I think for the silliness of it, it took itself too seriously. It needed that, and that again. I'm not a shill for Marvel, although I do get paid by them enormous sums of money.
Well, if that makes you a shill, then cha-ching. Remember how much they paid us to review Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Oh, we didn't review that one, Jay.
Oh.
The Ant-Man and the Wasp check bounced.
Oh.
Kevin said wait till next Friday to cash it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a little embarrassing, so I mailed it back.
Okay.
I said, next time, buddy.
All right.
But my point was, when you have something silly like Thor with the Bifrost, the magical rainbow bridge, and the teleportation thing.
This had a magic bridge too.
I did have a
magical rainbow bridge.
But they didn't laugh at it. And Thor was more fish out of water than Aquaman. talk about ironic. And that's the fun part that people relate to.
Yeah.
Is that some sort of protoplasm, all the stuff that's coming out of you, or are they eggs? It looks like eggs.
But when Patrick Wilson said, "Call me the Ocean Master," and when Nicole Kidman had to wear a fish costume.
Can we talk about that?
She wore the Zat suit.
I was going to say,
charming.
because she's in the beginning of the movie, and it's before Aquaman was born, so they digitally de-aged her, which was mildly distracting, but not too bad. But
Jango Fett's toupee was distracting.
obviously, if you're going to cast Nicole Kidman and you're going to digitally de-age her, you know she's going to show up later in the movie in present time, but they keep trying to treat it like she's dead. But then,
Spoilers.
Whatever.
If you can't predict that,
This whole movie, everything in this movie is predictable. But she shows up and she, rescues them, and they're on that island where we see like dinosaurs in like one shot, which was kind of fun.
it was a bubble of earth and air inside the core of the earth.
Yes.
The planet core.
Planet core. But yeah, at first you're supposed to think she's a fish monster, and then you realize, oh, it's a person in a costume. Who's this going to be? And of course, it's going to be Nicole Kidman. And then for the rest of her scenes during that whole part of the movie, she's just wearing this fish monster outfit, and she looked like the Predator. If you just put Nicole Kidman's head on a Predator, that's what she looks like.
There was a moment too, like Jason Momoa does not introduce Amber Heard to Nicole Kidman.
She's just standing off to the side, their whole dialogue scene.
Aquaman goes down into something to retrieve the magical trident.
Yes.
And then it cuts. That we don't cut back to them. And this is Marvel DC comparison, right?
Okay.
He comes out of the water, and Amber Heard is sitting on a rock, and Nicole Kidman is like picking something out of her hair, and then they look over. And I was like, what the fuck were they doing? It's like they didn't know what they did for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And really what you need is, I'm fighting the sea monster, trying to get the trident. Hard cut. Them sitting there like, so,
Yeah. How long you been on this island?
What did you do when it came time? When you needed feminine products, cut back. Then the audience chuckles while they're bored to tears by Aquaman fighting.
You need to be distracted from the plot, basically.
You got to be distracted from the plot, and you need those relatable elements. Like, what does Nicole Kidman's been in a bubble in the middle of the earth for 20 years?
Bubble.
She hadn't seen any people, and Aquaman didn't introduce her to this girl he has with him, rudely. Mother, this is so-and-so, the daughter of King blah, blah, blah. The daughter of Dolph Lundgren. She is very important, and she has magical powers. She can control water, and she saved my life when I had to fight Bible Man in front of an arena. Her name is... I don't remember. But see, that's what I mean. Relatability. And you know what? Cut out 6 or 7 non-story progressing action sequences, and really
Then you make the ones that you do have that much more exciting. They did it with Wonder Woman. There weren't a whole lot of action scenes in that movie.
You got to build up to the battle Helm's Deep.
Yes.
A couple of little skirmishes with orcs here or there, orcs riding monster dogs, and then you have the Battle of Helm's Deep that takes the last 20 minutes of the film when you have thousands of
20
monsters.
minutes, try the last hour of the film.
Thousands of monsters marching, that tension, all the guys with the arrows.
You've built up over the course of 1.5 movies to get to that point.
And there's consequence to that. We're fighting the crab people or the lobster men because I kind of want you to join my 7 Seas army, but I don't really need you.
Yeah, but we don't want to join. But we haven't even been introduced to these crab people. We're just all of a sudden watching them fight.
And they say, Patrick Wilson, didn't with just like by snapping your fingers, you basically like devastated the entire Earth with giant tidal waves? Why do you need 7 armies of the 7 oceans with crab monsters and giant Godzilla creatures?
Yeah.
The time has come for Atlantis to rise again.
And Aquaman must face not 1, but 2 villains.
I think this film will play very well to 13-year-old boys and mentally deficient adults. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they'll
I
be
mean,
like
the,
wowed by it.
The visuals do go a long way. I mean, there's cool things like when they're going down to Atlantis, and like there's a sequence that's completely lit by like these purple jellyfish. Like you can tell there's a lot of thought put into all that stuff.
This is saying, even though the two elderly people that walked out during the final battle,
They made it 2 hours and 10 minutes into the film, and then they said, "That's enough."
that's enough.
When the crab monsters started fighting the sharks, that's when they were like, "I'm done."
Our brains weren't wired for this.
Speaking of the plugged-in elements, I just briefly want to mention, there's a part when they're in the Sahara Desert, and that's where we're supposed to get the, what was that, like Romancing the Stone, where they're going on adventures, but they don't get along, and then they fall in love. It was like that shit. And I noticed the music stuck out to me there, where it was like that like, plucky, cutesy music.
Oh, yeah, sitcom
that was
music.
in like every like bad 90s movie. I was like, why are they bringing this music back?
Wait, I have a track for you.
Oh.
Ready? In case you're wondering what Jay's talking about. Here it is.
Okay.
It was that music,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you why it was there, Jay, although you know the answer. It was to tell you how you should feel.
Yeah.
Atlantis has always had a king.
I mean, we talk about movies, aside from being VCR repairmen, we watch them for a reason.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, I can't imagine having gone to this movie for the purpose of sitting down and enjoying it.
Sure.
Because 7 other things are on top of that, which is we got to fix our cinematic universe. We've got to make the movie for this character. We've got to insert these plots. He needs to get his costume, blah, 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 blah. And the very bottom of it is engaging your audience in an interesting, surprising, and fun to watch story.
Yeah.
Because everything was predictable. It was beat for beat what it should have been. And, you know, to James Wan's credit, he delivered exactly what needed to be delivered.
He is a workman-like, reliable filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he knew exactly what to make. But they still, the arrow fell far short of achieving that Marvel formula again.
I think they were relying more on the charms of Jason Momoa to carry it, but he's not that charming, really.
No,
he just kind of comes across like generic bro guy.
He comes, yeah, he's kind of a knucklehead.
Yeah.
He needed,
not bad, but
No, I mean, as an actor, he's okay.
yeah.
But
no, I mean like the character and the performance.
the
it's just,
charisma,
right?
There wasn't any charisma.
Yeah.
He is a bit of a flat note. And so is Amber Heard.
So is Amber Heard. So when you have the entire middle 45 minutes of your movie, the two of them trying to relate and connect to each other, it just. Ugh.
We need more Willem Dafoe.
This was a very surprising sequel to The Life Aquatic, though.
Wait a second, what are we doing? You said cross the line if...
Cross the line if you're going to quit.
Oh, do it again. I misunderstood.
Bill Murray as the king would have been great.
That's like, what is it, Thor Ragnarok, when you got Jeff Goldblum just deflating anything with his weird comedy.
Hey, Sparkles, here's the deal. If you want to get back to place, Asperg.
Asgard!
Like, you need someone like that in this movie.
Yeah, just Bill Murray just going, what? You want to do what to the surface now?
Yeah, someone like if the Patrick Wilson character was doing it more out of like ego and arrogance, like that could have made it fun. But he's just so serious, and we're going to take over the tops. Like, who cares? Boring.
Yeah, he could have been more corrupt. Yeah. Like he enjoys the spoils of being king, you know, and he wants to rule the whole world because maybe there's shit up on the surface that they don't really have down underwater, like Vicodin.
Like a reverse Black Panther.
Right.
Like Vicodin.
Vicodin and booze. Maybe he took a secret trip to the surface world, you know, to like just investigate it one day. Yeah. And then he just
like, holy shit, this Taco Bell place is amazing.
Yes, I love Taco Bell.
We don't have Taco Bell in Atlantis.
This is a great tie-in. I'm so sick of fish meat. He goes to like a bar and what is this? Oh, you want a shot, sir? A what? It's called booze. What? and then he's at like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. He goes on a roller coaster. And down underwater, he has like his Atlantean like mermaids at his will. He gets all the fish he wants.
Yeah.
But
it's not the same.
He wants those treats of the surface world, but the surface world is like gross and considered maybe like low class to the proud Atlanteans with their technology.
Sure.
And he's like, I want to conquer them, but really, you know, secretly he wants the spoils of the surface world. He wants Taco Bell and booze and Vicodins and steak dinners and roller coasters. And cotton candy. He discovers cotton candy. That's the turning point.
Okay.
He just starts eating tons of cotton candy, and he goes crazy. And that's why King blah 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 wants to conquer the surface world, because he wants the best of both worlds.
Hey, there you go.
Patrick Wilson's goal to conquer the surface, to get Taco Bell, Vicodin, and steaks, and Jason Momoa and Bible Man at the end. Crash landing into a shopping mall and having their epic fight there.
Sure.
Like little touches like that where you wink at the subject matter because it's so silly.
Mike, not every superhero movie should be a Marvel film.
We
need to take some of these more seriously, like Aquaman.
Like a man that talks to fish.
Grab these blowfish, Tadpole. We'll have you out in a second.
I'm sure a whole bunch of CGI artists got paid to meticulously animate a giant battle that I closed my eyes during.
But what could be greater than a king?
A hero.
So, Jay, would you recommend Aquaman?
No.
Oh yeah, I would say no, just stay away from Aquaman, unless you're the hardest of hardcore DC fans that needs to soak up all of their canon. Lightning Fast QBR repair shop. How can I help you? Oh, you're looking to have your QBR repaired? Why we do that, sir? Come on in. We're open 24/7. Coming at 4:30 in the morning.
What an unexpected turn of events.